Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in to Call the Cops. My name is Officer Jamie Keneally. You know, I always tell you we have a big show in store, and tonight's show, certainly no exception. An interesting show, to say the least. Tonight we're talking about fairness, and tonight we talk about really just how not to treat our first responders. And I think we got a little video of tonight's discussion. 14 years ago, approximately 14 years ago, police officer Kenny Shaw passed away, I believe it was 1998, yes. After contracting hepatitis C while he was on the job. When an officer dies as a result of a work-related injury or in the line of duty, death benefits are a given. They're bestowed pretty much automatically. Didn't happen in the case of Kenny Shaw, and tonight Kenny's wife and daughter, Mara and Stephanie, are here tonight, and we're going to talk about the case of Kenny Shaw. So, again, Mara and Stephanie in studio. We're going to talk to them in a second. Before we get to them, I want to thank last week's guest, Captain Greeland. If you saw the show, you know we talked about cute little kids attending the St. Patrick's Day Parade over in South Boston. We tell you all the time it's about the kids, and that's why we ask you not to treat it like Mardi Gras. This year, I mean, look at this. Look at these cute little faces. This year, the crowds were very well behaved, except for a couple. There's always a couple who, again, don't get the good behavior memo. But we want to thank everybody. We want to thank those who did behave, and also give a shout out to one of the best pipe bands in the country. That's right. I mean, do I even have to say it? We're talking about the Pipes and Drums, the Boston Police Gaelic Column. And, you know, I've tried out for the band a couple times, but I just don't have, I guess, what it takes. But that's not what we're talking about tonight. But, again, these guys, they always look good. They sound even better. A source of great pride for members of the Boston Police Department. And, again, if you're at the St. Patrick's Day Parade, the Pipes and Drums were on full display, sounded great, and we want to always send a shout out to our pipes and drummers. All right, other stuff we'd like to get to. The Boston Police Department has a new #1. We're not talking about the commissioner. He's not going anywhere, despite all the crazy rumors. But John C. Daly, is now wearing the #1 badge. And the #1 badge, this is kind of cool, goes to the officer with the longest service time in the Boston Police Department. Mr. Daly has been a patrolman for 42 years. Wow. Yeah, that's what I said. Good luck. But you know what? It's a nice little tribute. His wife was there. She pinned him. She stabbed him a couple of times. John didn't say too much. But congratulations to him, and congratulations to John, because that #1 badge, it's a nice little tribute to him. All right, this is kind of cool. Never in the history, never, I say in the history of the BPD, has a manager of the Boston Red Sox stopped by any police stations, as far as we know, voluntarily in the history of Red Sox managers. But Bobby Valentine, did so before spring training, which we thought was pretty cool. As you can see him, Bobby V here with Captain Ivins. He stopped by just to say, well, he told us just to say thank you, which is always nice to hear. Yeah. He said he wanted to say thanks to the men and women of the Boston Police Department, and here's what he had to say to us when we caught up to him.
You know, safety is one of the things that we all feel great about by living in this country and being in this great city of Boston, knowing that people, men and women, put their lives on the line to make us safe, to make us feel good when we wake up in the morning is a special thing, and I just was hoping to make the guys feel a little special today, and gals. Well, because I understand it's thankless many times, you know, that 4 in the morning it gets real late. Those 6 o'clock in the morning wake-up calls get real early, and you know, it's a day in, day out grind that a lot of people have to do, and they're doing it for others. So, you know, I'm here to say thank you.
And we certainly appreciated that, Bobby V. Tonight, though, we're talking about Kenny Shaw. Police Officer Kenny Shaw, and I got to say, Fox 25 did a tremendous job of telling the story, which I think aired in December. We've got that story. We want to show it to you before we bring out Mara and Stephanie. Story of Kenny Shaw, a great guy, great police officer. Take a look at the story, though, right now.
Is fighting for accidental death benefits 13 years after her husband died. Maura Shaw believes her husband was essentially killed in the line of duty, but the state has denied her application over and over again. Fox Undercover's Mike Bodette is investigating the state's decision that has financially devastated the police officer's widow.
It's like a slap in the face, yeah. He loved his job. He loved doing what he did.
Maura Shaw never thought she'd still be fighting for accidental death benefits more than a decade after her husband died.
I ended up losing the house. I ended up pawning my diamond ring that he gave me. It's been hard.
Kenneth Shaw was a Boston police officer who worked in the identification unit, responding to grisly crime scenes, including this one, the murder of Swedish nanny Karina Holmer, whose torso was found in a dumpster in 1996. Officer Shaw had to go inside the dumpster to take fingerprints.
So he would handle murder weapons, bodies, that type of thing.
Blood?
Absolutely blood.
With no gloves on?
With no gloves on.
No gloves because Boston police did not wear them for many of the years Shaw worked in the ID unit. At some point, he contracted hepatitis C, a viral disease spread through blood. Shaw became so sick he needed a liver transplant. He lost his battle with the disease in 1998 after his body rejected the new liver.
To him and to myself, there was no doubt that he got it working for the police department.
You're convinced of it?
I'm totally convinced of it. I feel like he was killed on the job.
Shaw's doctor from Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center agreed, writing in this letter, his only risk factors were exposure to blood as a policeman at work. In particular, there was no history of intravenous drug use or blood product transfusion. Maura Shaw applied to the Boston Retirement Board for accidental death benefits. The board had another doctor review the case who agreed with the first doctor, writing, "It is my opinion that the death of Officer Shaw was the consequence of a hazard undergone in the performance of his duties as a Boston police officer." The city's retirement board approved the application for benefits in 2001, but the state would not sign off on it. The Public Employee Retirement Administration Commission writing, "There is not substantial evidence to support the conclusion that Mr. Shaw's hepatitis C was contracted via his employment."
Did you think this would be an open and shut case, that you'd get the benefit?
I did. I never thought it would be years. And then to be, shot down is just incredulous.
Officer Shaw's 4 children also frustrated with the state's decision.
My father never cheated anybody in his life. Why would he lie to get money, to provide for his family? It's not him. He wouldn't do that. If he didn't think he got it from on the job, he wouldn't have said, "I got it on the job." Simple as that.
Kevin Shaw says it was especially tough seeing his mother unable to pay the mortgage.
To have her lose it, it's hard.
It makes me very angry. He dedicated his life to being a police officer and a husband and a father. I'm sorry. And I believe that she deserves it. Waiting all this time for it and struggling. I think she shouldn't struggle anymore.
Joseph Connerton is executive director of PARAC, the Public Employee Retirement Administration Commission, the state agency that will not approve the benefits.
Is this office heartless?
Absolutely not. We review hundreds of disabilities each year. In fact, over the last 3 years, we have approved 88% of all of the disability applications which have come in here.
Why won't the state approve these benefits?
In this case, unfortunately, Officer Shaw died of hepatitis C. There was no indication that we were able to determine that there was a specific incident which occurred to grant him the benefit.
What kind of evidence does the state need?
Time, place, and incident, a particular time, a particular day where Officer Shaw had actually contacted hepatitis C.
We want this, we want that, we want a body of where he caught this disease. Most of the time, they were dead, they were murder victims, and you don't test for a disease if they're already dead in the morgue. So how would they know if that person had hepatitis? You'd never know.
That was when we lived on Essex Street.
The Shaws are hoping somehow something can happen so they can receive the benefits they believe they deserve.
What do you think your dad would make of this?
I believe he would be crazy. He wouldn't stand for something like this. If it was somebody else going through this, I believe that he would have stood up for that person.
The state says the case is dismissed.
Yes.
What do you think should happen today?
I think it should be reopened. it should be reopened.
Wow. Powerful, powerful stuff. You know, it ends with you saying it should be reopened, and maybe we just catch folks up to where it is. The piece aired the day again, the night again?
In December.
In December, the day after you guys were on the morning show with Kim Kerrigan. And after you guys came off the set, there was a phone call from Sheila Harrington?
Yes.
And what was that conversation?
Well, I didn't even have time to get off the chair.
Yeah.
And they told me I had a phone call. And she stated who she was and that she was willing to help us to do something. She couldn't believe that we would deny the benefits.
The reaction, I mean, you can't watch that piece. And again, we've had this discussion before we came out. Mike Beaudet is an investigative reporter. Police officers, by and large, are leery of investigative reporters, but he did a great job. And that's why we wanted to show the majority of that piece here. How does anybody not feel anything but outrage after you watch that? And what kind of reaction have you folks, have you guys seen since? What have people said to you?
Well, so many people have said that they couldn't believe it and that it went on for this long. You know, it went to the Huffington Post online, and, you know, there were hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah. I mean, the reaction has been pretty amazing. Have you been surprised by the because it's like, again, they did a nice piece on Fox morning show, and now people.
Shocked.
Yeah, I think it.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Shocked. Yeah. I thought maybe we'd get some, you know, publicity from it, but not as much as we've been getting.
Right, because now you're going to call the cops, and that's just as good as it gets.
That's the big one.
Prime time.
But people, you know what? It's heartening to me because people get it. People know when something's not right. People get a sense when, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. There's a wrong there that needs to be addressed. Do you kind of get that as well?
Yeah, it was wrong. I mean, we can't be the only family that this has happened to or is going through. And, you know, more people, I think, maybe should come out and say, this is wrong. You know, it's happened to us. We were denied these benefits, my father, my mother. And I think they should come out and say something.
How encouraged are you by that, Mara, though, that you know, like you said, I was just looking through a bunch of the stuff this week and going on various websites, in the comments section especially, you know, people are like, you got to be kidding me, cut it out. Seriously? It's been this long? You know, handle that. Take, you know, remedy it, you know, fix it. Is that kind of heartening to you and encouraging that people see, you know, what you guys have been feeling for the past?
Absolutely, because it's people that you don't even know, and, you know, that they're writing about it, saying, you know, come on, this is ridiculous.
So Sheila Harrington calls and says, we got to right this wrong. What happens from there? Some of the people who've gotten involved, State Rep Marty Walsh, also reached out to you, I believe.
Yes.
And what?
Senator McGee.
Yep.
He was
Donnie
very
Wong.
helpful, and Donnie Wong from Saugus, and who else was there?
There's so many now.
Which is nice.
Yeah, just so many people want to sign on to.
But from this, a bill has been sponsored, saying let's fix this.
Yeah.
Right.
And Marty Walsh, I think, State Rep Walsh was the one who authored that. And but how did the conversation go when he called? What did he say to you?
He called me and he said that he was outraged. He saw the piece. He said that he wanted to help us, that he's going to make this right. He's going to wrong this right because it's absolutely ridiculous. There's no other way my father could have gotten this disease.
So that's a couple days after you guys appear on Fox 25.
Yes.
The bill is drafted, which by itself is a huge deal.
Yeah.
But you're gonna kind of educate me. So now the legislative process, something cool just happened. You tell me earlier about the number.
We got a number for the bill.
Okay.
So now what it does is it will go into like a hearing and they can vote on it.
When is the hearing? Do we know that?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
That could take a little time.
But the fact that the bill got a number is significant because why? Just because
it would just be sitting there kind of in transition. But now where it has the number, they can see it and people can read it online and stuff like that.
What do you think of that fact that now the bill has a number, a hearing is kind of in the works?
Yeah, well, you know, it's still unbelievable how fast it was. It was really fast. I thought it would be, you know, months.
Yeah, well, years. But I mean, not for nothing though, Maura, like, you've been used to years.
Yeah. That's
so now for things to happen so quickly, you know, I would think, oh, it's going to be 6 months to a year anyway. Or I don't know. I mean, has anybody said to you or given you a timetable that, hey, you know, once the bill gets a number, the hearing process, how long does that process generally take? Has anybody put any time?
No, they haven't put a time on it. You know, they're hoping it will go in quickly.
Okay.
They haven't really given us a time.
Let me ask you this. I didn't know your husband, because I think he was a little bit older than I was. But you know, what kind, you know, for folks at home who you know, never had a chance to meet Kenny Shaw, what kind of guy was Kenny Shaw?
He was a great family man. He loved his kids, and you know, would do a lot of things with them, like you know, stained glass. He did that down the cellar. He'd have them down there doing it, and they were young, too. And he was a great storyteller.
Yeah.
I can remember a time too when he told the kids they were going to plant carrots, and
for the Easter Bunny, or just to plant them?
No, just to plant them, and had the kids out there digging up, putting the seeds in. And when they went to bed, he went out and gone to the Stop and Shop and bought carrots, put them in the hole.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Look what you did.
Did Stephanie know that till just now? Because I hate to think, because I'm sure she was like,
she
if you ever want to learn how to grow carrots, I'm your lady.
What
What a great story. Now, was he? Now, you guys are living in Saugus. Is he a Saugus guy originally, or where was he from originally?
He was from Lynn originally.
Okay, the city of sin. We won't hold that against him.
And then they moved. He moved to Saugus when he was a teenager.
And the folks of the Kowloon love him.
Yes.
Yeah. We won't get into that. 4 kids. I got 1 at home, so now it's funny. Now, until I had my son, and I was like, I have 4 kids, I'm 1 of 5, but it's like, wow, 4 kids. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And you get one of them right here.
Yep.
Tell people at home who your dad was.
Oh, he was such a dad.
Yeah.
Anything that you wanted to learn to do, he would be right there to do it with you. Yeah. I was into sewing when I was younger.
Don't tell me he was into sewing.
He called my aunt up and asked her how to sew so he could spend time with me to sew and teach me something new.
Wow.
That's the type of person he was. If he were interested in something, he didn't know how to do it, he would find out how to do it. And he didn't say, oh, that, can't do that.
Yeah.
That's sewing.
I don't do sewing. If you want to talk sports, we can do that, Stephanie. But no, that's awesome.
That's what he would do.
So those are 2 great stories to give you an idea as to what kind of guy he was.
Yeah.
He was a Saugus police officer first, and then he became a Boston police officer. Why did he? What drew him to public service or policing?
I think just because he liked to help other people, and he had a strong enough personality, I think, to be a policeman. Somebody who could take charge of a situation. That was him.
Sounds like me too, but yeah.
Yeah. Because if you went somewhere, it was, timeline. Well, we have to do this at this time and this at this time, and, he was just unbelievable.
He was drawn to it. Why do you think your dad made a good police officer?
Like she said, he loved it. He cared about people. Yeah. He wanted to make things right. If something was wrong, he wanted to make it right. That's what he wanted to do. And he went to the end of the earth to make it right for you.
And I'm guessing he liked being a Boston police officer a whole lot better than the Saugus police officer.
Oh, yes.
Just guessing. I'm not telling you guys how to answer these questions. Was there a best part of the job for him? I mean, was there anything in particular he said, you know what, I like the job because of whatever reason? You maybe already said it, just the opportunity to help out.
Well, he really liked to do the fingerprinting and photography.
Yeah.
That was his thing. I mean, he was a patrolman for a while, and he did enjoy that. But his love was fingerprinting.
Yeah.
He even signed up to go to Quantico, the FBI Academy, and take some classes there, more than once.
Yeah. I mean, once upon a time, it was a real art form to get the fingerprint just so.
Right. Yeah, they didn't have AFIS.
Computers.
They didn't have the stuff they have today. It was like you had to make sure you
had to look at you had to do the cards.
Yep. Get the right print, make sure it was all there. You're doing the ink printing. I'm sure he was doing the ink stuff.
Oh, yes.
Frustrating, to say the least. And then he also did something with the fingerprinting, too. Did he do stuff for kids, too, with the fingerprints?
Yes, he did. He did what was called kid cards.
Yeah.
And he taught a bunch of women, myself and my some of my friends how to fingerprint. And we would do babies that were like 2 days old, 3 days old. Yeah, which I don't think any police department has ever done.
No, like he was ahead of the curve on that.
Yep.
Because I mean, now that's something they offer where, you know, God forbid if a kid goes missing or what have you, they want to have prints, they want to have a picture, they want to have that stuff already and taken care of. Take me back. So, 1998. Is that when he finds out that he's got hepatitis C? When does he find that out? When does he get that diagnosis? We
found that he had given blood, and the Red Cross, I think it was 94.
Okay.
94, I think it was 94. 93 and 94. And they said that he couldn't donate blood anymore. And he was, you know, in pretty good health until 97, and he started failing.
So 94, giving blood, comes to find out they said, we can't use your blood anymore, you've got hepatitis C. And when you hear hepatitis C, what are you guys thinking?
Well, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And then we were told by different people, oh, don't worry about it. You know, you can live with that, no problem.
Not the case, though.
Not the case.
And hepatitis C, because a lot of people, like, I was looking it up today. I'm like, so what is hepatitis C? I mean, is it a liver infection? Is that, I mean, how do you define, how is it defined? A blood disease or liver infection or something?
Well, it's transferred by the blood, and it destroys the liver.
Yeah.
So that you have toxins build up in your system.
Right.
And it really took a toll on him. It's a devastating disease, and to watch someone slowly die of that is a terrible thing.
And that's the crux of this whole issue. So he finds out he has hepatitis C, and they say probably the most common way to get it is from blood to blood interaction. And here's a guy who's doing fingerprinting. He's fingerprinting, you know, suspects and people who've been arrested who are probably coming into the station not in the best of shape, probably cuts, scrapes, bruises. He's also responding to homicide scenes, you know. And you were telling me a story about when he took prints sometimes or blood evidence, he'd dab it with his thumb or something?
Well, I went to see him one day at work, and there was a finger in a jar.
Yeah.
And someone had, I guess, came up on the beach or something like that. And they couldn't get a good print off of it, so he had to take it and put his finger in it and then take roll it. But they didn't use any glove. They didn't use gloves.
They would take the skin off.
Yeah, the skin, and he would put it on his and roll it out.
Wow.
Yeah, or if he went to the morgue, they'd have to cut, you know, the finger or whatever.
So, but I guess.
And he'd handle that. But I was told, you know, like when he was first in, I'd just wash your hands.
Or if you get a chance to wash your hands. Right. Yeah. Dramatically different from today.
Absolutely.
You know? Whereas obviously the people understand that it's the risk of a hepatitis C or whatever, some of the things you can get. Gloves are automatic.
Right.
So when he get it, did somebody say to him, hey, this is how you got it? You know, because I'm sure that was the question he had. How did I get this?
Well, you know, he was told it's blood to blood. So, you know, where else does he come in contact with blood?
It's like to me, it's like pick a day.
And a lot of blood.
Yeah, pick a day.
He went to, you know, homicide scenes, you know, which a lot were bloody.
Yeah. So did he know right away? Okay, geez, I guess I got it at work. Was that? I mean, did you guys just assume as much?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
And then you apply. You apply for the disability pension, and they give you. Boston says, yeah, no problem. This makes sense. This is how it happened, and the state says no.
Right.
And when that happens, what's the reaction there?
Well, I couldn't believe it, and we kept going back again and again, and each time they said no.
Kept saying no.
Kept saying no.
And then it kind of, so appeal after appeal after appeal, and you kind of throw your hands up.
You're done. I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, it must be exhausting to keep pursuing something that seems to make sense, and you seem to be just going up against a
brick wall.
A brick wall.
Right.
But the good news now, thankfully, this story seems to have, it's just working towards an ending that's going to be fair for everybody. The bill is here. Okay, it's got a number, and for folks who see the show, folks who've watched you on Fox 25, seen you on Channel 4, Can they do anything to help the process?
They can call their state rep and say that, you know, ask them to vote yes for this bill so she can get the benefits, that they're, you know, outraged that it's taken this long for her to get her money.
And that's the way to handle it. So folks who want to get involved, you want to get involved,
right.
Get on the phone, say the bill for Kenny Shaw, pass it, make it happen. And that's where people who probably say to themselves, well, geez, you know, yeah, this looks wrong. And to answer to the question, how can they get involved? Just pick up the phone is what you're saying.
Yes. That's all.
Yep.
What are you guys feeling now that it seems like potentially this thing is going to have the ending you deserve? I mean, what are your emotions as this continues?
Well, I'm still holding mine back.
Which makes sense, right? Because it's not over yet.
No.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of positive movement, but you're right.
A lot of positive,
it hasn't until it actually happens, given as long as it's been.
Yeah.
Any lesson you've pulled out of all this?
Yeah,
Never back down.
Yeah.
Because I mean, so many lessons from where I'm sitting. You guys don't back down. You never, no quit. You keep on keeping on. Persistence plus.
Yeah, and to let all the first responders know that this could be them.
Yeah.
You know.
And do you feel that too? Like this is more than just a fight for Kenny Shaw.
Absolutely.
This is a fight for.
Absolutely. Any first responders.
All right. Anybody? We're going to wrap it up. So, final thoughts to those who pick up the phone and call us, one of the alarm makers. What do you say to them?
Thank you for taking the time out and helping our family.
We'll end on that note. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
For being on Call the Cops. It was tough tracking you down because you had all these other engagements with other big stations. You heard it from the Shaw family. So happy to have Mara and Stephanie in studio. You saw the story. It makes perfect sense. The Kenny Shaw law needs to pass and pass pretty quickly. Thank you tonight for watching the show. How do you help out? Call your state lawmaker, your state rep, and tell them to do the right thing. Until next week, everybody, thank you again for calling or watching Call the Cops. Have a great week. Good night.